Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online regulation F VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be showcasing one of the greatest Articuno teams of all time in competitive VGC history. This team just claimed a major championship victory over in the Netherlands in a tournament with hundreds of players participating in it. Nikhil Reddy was able to win the entire tournament with the team featuring Light Clay Alolan Ninetales with Aurora Veil to support, of course, none other than Choice Specs Ice Terra Articuno with 4 Ice-type attacks. Articuno has seen very little play throughout VGC history, so to see it even just do remotely well is already really cool. To see it win an entire tournament is nothing short of unbelievable. But all of the pieces came together for Articuno to thrive in this format. In Regulation F, there are tons of Pokemon that are weak to Ice-type attacks that are common. Pokemon like Rillaboom, Amoonguss, Landorus Incarnate, as well as Raging Bull. In addition, Articuno gets access to Freeze Dry, which allows you to hit things like Ogre Pond Water and Urshifu Water for super effective damage. Finally, Articuno is just really bulky when you have the Snow setup for an increased defense boost as well as Aurora Veil. This Pokemon can stay on the field for a really long time, and your opponents will also occasionally miss moves against it thanks to its ability. So all the pieces kind of came together at the right time for Articuno to claim this victory, and I cannot wait to cover this team. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team and do a rundown of the tournament, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down in the description below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoyed, would really appreciate it if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Anyway, let's dive into things. Just to provide some quick context, this tournament was a special event that took place in the Netherlands in the beginning of March. It's called a special event, but that's basically equivalent to a regional championship in VGC. The only difference is that this tournament did not give out cash prizing, but I would consider it basically equally as prestigious to a regionals tournament. Nikhil was obviously able to win the entire event with Alolan Ninetales and Articuno. There's also Hisuian Arcanine, by the way, which I didn't mention in the intro, but Hisuian Arcanine's a Pokemon I feel like a lot of people have written off with the return of Incineroar, so to see the Choice Band set come back and really put in a lot of work, I think is amazing. What's also incredible is in order for Nikhil to have won this tournament, he had to beat Aurelion Sola in the finals, and Aurelion was on one of the most unbelievable runs in VGC history. Aurelion had gone undefeated in day 1, day 2, as well as winning top 8 and top 4, and so had come into the finals not dropping a single best of 3 set, which is absolutely phenomenal and one of the craziest runs I can remember. Nikhil, however, was able to defeat Aurelion in the very end and claim the championship, and it's really cool seeing the teams from this tournament. The fact that there was another Ninetales Articuno team here, it's actually the exact same team, is amazing here in 6th place, and 2 more Ninetales actually made top 16, one in 11th place and one in 14th place as well. To me, this is one of the most exciting tournaments that I've seen from Europe and just in this format in general in a very long time. The fact that there was an Iron Boulder team in 9th place, for example, Hisuian Gudra here in 14th, interesting Trick Room Rain team with Archaladon and Dusclops here in 17th place. It was really cool to see players flex their team building, and like I mentioned in the intro, never would have guessed Articuno and Ninetales taking home the entire championship. So yeah, let's quickly cover the team now and highlight why these Pokemon are so good. Breaking things down, as always, rental, pace, and team creator are linked down in the description below, and some of you mentioned that you find it helpful to first see the rental team before diving into the showdown export, so just wanted to flash up the team with the rental code so you can try it out yourself and just pause on the screen if you want to see all the information in one place. Breaking each individual Pokemon down, the first one we have to start off with is Articuno. I already mentioned a couple of reasons why this Pokemon is really good in the metagame right now, but just to quickly summarize, a lot of Pokemon in the format right now that are popular are really weak to Ice-type attacks, and Articuno just does a lot of damage to those Pokemon. In addition, this Pokemon is already pretty naturally bulky, and when you throw Aurora Veil and Snow on top, it becomes so hard to KO. I actually lost against this team at a local tournament right after the regional championship had concluded because I had no idea how much damage any of my moves would do. Most people don't really have a good sense of Articuno damage calcs. Now, this team is getting more popular, obviously. This is a huge victory, and now everyone knows about it, and so, as a result, people will have some better game sense as for how much damage moves will do against it, but if your opponent has not seen this team before or not fought against Articuno before, it's very likely they are going to be confused about how much damage things will do, and you can utilize that to your advantage. So this Articuno is really unique because it's Ice Terra and 4 Ice-type attacks. I actually can't remember the last time in Scarlet and Violet I've used a set like this, but it makes a lot of sense because you're just trying to maximize to deal as much damage as possible. Of course, you could use a defensive Terra, but if you do that, then you actually get rid of the defense boost from Snow, and it's really valuable for Articuno to keep that. So it's cool because with Ice Terra, you still keep that defense boost, but then you just do even more damage with your Ice-type attacks. Blizzard's your go-to move when the Snow is up, but Ice Beam is your most consistent move when Snow isn't up, and Freeze Dry is one of those moves that you can use to just get big surprise one-hit knockouts onto things like Ogerpon or Urshifu. Sheer Cold is a really weird move to see, and I would not recommend using it in most scenarios, but it can be really valuable in scenarios where you just don't have a better option, or hitting it wins you the game immediately. I think Sheer Cold's particularly valuable against really bulky Pokemon that stay on the field for a long time, but can't necessarily knock you out anytime soon. Porygon 2 is an example of that, and I think I've clicked Sheer Cold most of the time when my opponents have removed my Choice Specs via knockoff from something like Incineroar or Roaring Moon. The last point I want to make about this Articuno is that you have Snow Cloak. Now, with Snow Cloak, you should not rely on your opponent's missing moves on Articuno, but it just means that there is a chance that they will miss moves, right? And that's really nice because a lot of times a single miss can just cost your opponent the game immediately. For example, I had a practice game where my opponent clicked Fake Out onto Articuno on turn 1, but then they missed, and then my Blizzard was able to just knock out their Rillaboom and Tornadus immediately, simultaneously. That's one of the best feelings in the world, honestly. And so Snow Cloak is one of those moves or abilities where you really shouldn't count on it activating too much, but a single activation can just completely swing a game into your favor and allow you to win. And this team can really add some mental damage, right? You have a really already the Snow Cloak, but you also have freeze chances from all of your ice type attacks, right? You've got Blizzard from Articuno and Ninetales, and when both Pokemon are clicking Blizzard multiple turns in a row, the odds of you getting a freeze just are really solid. Freeze is probably the most infuriating status condition to fight against because you just never know when you're going to thaw out, and so that's something you can leverage to your advantage as well. Alolan Ninetales is also on the team. With this speed investment, you outspeed max speed Garchomp and everything slower than that. So Pokemon like Landorus Incarnate, Chi-Yu, and Urshifu, for example. The idea behind Alolan Ninetales obviously is to set up the Aurora Veil, but Blizzard and Moonblast are both really solid attacks. Moonblast in particular is really nice. It's a move that Alolan Ninetales would sometimes run historically, but I feel like it is so good in this format right now because there's so many Pokemon that are weak to Fairy, right? Being able to threaten Urshifu with Moonblast even without very much special attack investment, I think is awesome, and it's a move that I think is so important on this moveset. Fire Terra is really nice just to help out defensively, allow you to resist a bunch of different typings, and Helping Hand's a really cool move because with a Ninetales and Articuno, you can just go Ice Terra, Choice Specs, Helping Hand, Blizzard, 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 and get knockouts across the board. So one of the go-to leads with this team is definitely Ninetales plus Articuno if your opponent doesn't have too many things that just resist Blizzard super well immediately. And if your opponent doesn't have a great way to deny Aurora Veil on turn 1, then this is also, I think, a really solid lead to consider. Hisuian Arcanine is also on this team, and I think this is so cool to see. It's funny to say that after Hisuian Arcanine was like dominating every tournament previously, but it had a huge fall off. Part of the reason is because, of course, Incineroar came into the format, but his Incineroar and Hisuian Arcanine, despite them both being fire types and having Intimidate, actually do very different things. Incineroar is more valuable for pivoting and for disrupting your opponent, whereas Hisuian Arcanine is really designed to deal as much damage as possible. I mean, this is near max attack here on this set. And so you've got Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, Head Smash, and Extreme Speed. Head Smash exists here specifically because it helps out against a bunch of different scenarios. For example, if you are up against Flutter Mane, even if you're intimidated, for example, you will still be able to get a knockout. Just being able to get KOs on things even when intimidated, I think is really nice. But obviously you have 80% accuracy, so you have to be really careful about that. The final Pokemon are all relatively standard. This is Water Ogerpon. This Water Ogerpon is designed to also outspeed all of the things that Ninetales outspeeds, and it's just 1 point faster to make sure that you're not speed tying with yourself. Water Ogerpon having speed investment is really valuable because it allows you to outspeed things like Landorus, Chi-Yu, as well as Urshifu, and I already mentioned those names earlier, but those are all really common Pokemon, right? So you want to be prepared for those. Otherwise, fairly standard set. This set definitely indexes very little on attack and very much just on being fast, being able to tank attacks with Follow Me. But one thing that's really nice is even though you don't have much attack investment, you have Alolan Ninetales, right? So don't underestimate the power of Helping Hand, Water Terra, and just Ivy Cudgel immediately. That can actually still pick up knockouts despite you not having much attack investment here. The team also has Landorus Incarnate. This is just a bulkier set. Some people run just like max special attack, max speed. Max speed, really valuable on this Pokemon to be able to ensure that you outpace a lot of those Pokemon that I mentioned earlier, right? Like the Urshifus, like the Chiyus, for example, that are not choice scarfed. And so, yeah, this is just one of the strongest attackers in the game right now. And Substitute is really nice to help out into compositions that have a Moongus with Spore, for example, as well as Trick Room matchups. Assault Vest Raging Bolt is the final Pokemon, and this is just a really bulky Pokemon that can soak up damage. It can disrupt your opponent with Electro Web, Draco, Thunderclap, and Snarl, and it's just kind of a huge nuisance. This is a Pokemon that's really risen in popularity recently, especially the Assault Vest set. Tons of high-level players have been using it. That's it for a quick breakdown. In terms of ways to play the team, I would first of all highly recommend you watch all of the VODs from the regional championship. I'll link them down in the description below, and specifically Nikhil's game, so you can see the master of this team truly pilot it in a very high pressure environment. Some modes that I personally like going with are Ninetales plus Articuno. You just set up the snow immediately and start spamming Blizzard or other attacks. One thing to note with this duo is that you are obviously the same type, so you're really weak to things like fire and rock, for example, and Pokemon that are just super resistant to ice type attacks, things like Heatran, for example, can be a huge nuisance for this combination. So I like going with this if I think my opponent doesn't have too many responses and they don't have something that's like ultra bulky like in Soak Up Blizzards. But you also have to be careful because this Ninetales is relatively frail on the special side, and so something like Choice Specs, Flutter Mane, Fairy Terra, Moonblast can just knock this out. That's part of the reason why you have Fairy Terra, to allow you to defend. But if you lead Ninetales Articuno, neither of these Pokemon have Protect, so you have to be extra cautious. I also like Ogerpon Ninetales with Articuno in the back. The idea is to go for Follow Me, set up some redirection, get the Aurora Veil up, and then get Articuno out into a better spot. If you wanted to play offensively, though, any combination of things like Landorus, Arcanine, Landorus, Ogerpon, Landorus, Raging Bolt, Ogre, Raging Hisuian, Arcanine, like all of these could work, right? And so when I pick my team for in team preview, I often first ask myself, like, okay, do I think Ninetales and Articuno are actually good here? And the answer is yes in most cases, but if they have a Torkoal in team preview, then I'm probably a little bit more scared to bring Articuno. And you just kind of have to think about how you can maximize value from this duo, because sometimes it can just feel like it wins you the game in 2 turns, and other times it can feel completely useless. So then once I check that off, then I kind of go through the rest of the team and decide what I want to bring. So yeah, but like I said, some leads to think about include Ninetales, Articuno, Ogerpon, Ninetales. I think Ninetales actually pairs with everything on this team as a lead, which is really nice. But of course, you just want to make sure you actually get that Aurora Veil up, or if not, you're making value out of Helping Hand. So yeah. In terms of weaknesses, the first thing that I'd call out is that Alolan Ninetales does not like going up against opposing weather. So if you've got things like Rain Dance Tornadus, Sunny Day Tornadus, Torkoal, for example, all of those can be really annoying for Ninetales to fight against. In addition, if you're able to actually pressure Ninetales with a knockout immediately, that can be really strong, especially if you're faster. You really do want to be faster, otherwise the Aurora Veil will get set up first. So something like a Fairy Terra Choice Specs Flutter Mane with Moonblast is really strong. Now, Ninetales obviously can Fire Terra to get around that, so it's not like it's foolproof, but being able to threaten it with damage and outpace it before it gets Aurora Veil up, I think is really strong. This Ninetales also doesn't have Protect, it doesn't have Covert Cloak, there's no Ghost Terra, so Fake Out into it, plus a really strong attack is also a viable option in dealing with it. And obviously, if you lead Ninetales plus Articuno, just having things that resist Ice-type attacks are really good, right? Like I played against a Leftovers Heatran once, that caused me some trouble, and that was really scary. And so what you can do is like bring these Pokemon in that resist those attacks, and then often one of these two, if not both, will feel forced to switch out. So on the turn that they switch out, you can capitalize off that and make some predictions and try to nail whatever is coming in. One other thing that I would call out here is that there are only 2 Pokemon that carry Protect on the team, in Ogerpon and Landorus, and so the rest of the Pokemon can't Protect, meaning that if they are both out on the field, then both of those slots are left relatively exposed, and you can potentially take advantage of that. So those are just a couple of things that I wanted to point out. I've definitely lost a fair share of games to just random Rainy Day Tornadus. I said Rainy Day. Sunny Day Tornadus or Rain Dance Tornadus in closed team sheet best of 1, and so that is something that can be particularly scary. All right, we are up against Mamoswine, Roaring Moon, Rillaboom, Alolan Ninetales, Heatran, and Urshifu. My first thought here is that Articuno is really good. For example, I actually think we can just lead Articuno and Ninetales in this one. What we have to be careful about is the Heatran in the back, so I want as many answers to it as possible. And I think that means I want to bring both Ogerpon as well as Landorus. Now, Mamoswine's actually a really interesting Pokemon as well. Ninetales has kind of risen up out of nowhere, and Mamoswine's a Pokemon that can actually also capitalize off the snow. You get the defense boost. With Oblivious, you are immune to Intimidate as well, which is pretty sweet. And you can just do a lot of damage with ice and ground coverage. If you think about the format and popular Pokemon, Incineroar, for example, gets stunked on by ground type attacks. Ice type attacks from Mamoswine, really valuable in a format with so many flying types. Like on this team, we have Landorus and Raging Bolt, right? Raging Bolt's one of the best Pokemon, one of the most common Pokemon in the format right now, so having a way to just really completely wall it. I say completely, I mean, Dragon type attacks still do decent damage into Mamoswine, but Mamoswine just retaliates back with so much damage, and so I think Mamo's actually an incredibly underplayed Pokemon, and it can put on a lot of pressure. Heatran, however, is, in my opinion, the #1 threat here. They're going to go with Mamoswine and Roaring Moon, okay? I think this is generally a pretty safe Aurora Veil, Terra, Ice, Blizzard. I guess the thing is whether or not I really want to commit the Terra here with Articuno. That you could easily, like, protect and then switch into Heatran, for example, right now. And I think conserving Terra for Ogerpon might actually be a little bit better. So I think I'm down to just click regular Blizzard here and Aurora Veil. And I think the idea is basically conserving Terra for Ogre feels really strong because Ogre's matches up very nicely into both Mamoswine as well as the Roaring Moon. But they're just going to go for Protect here with Moon, which is fine. So we get Aurora Veil up immediately, which is awesome. What this means is next turn I can go for a Helping Hand plus Blizzard. They're going to go for Heavy Slam here onto us, but we survive thanks to Aurora Veil and the Snow buff, which is awesome. And here's Blizzard coming out. I honestly kind of would like to get the knockout here, I think. So I think I want to go Ice Terra and Helping Hand. The reason for Ice Terra here is because Roaring Moon could just go for knockoff, which would get rid of our Choice Specs. And a double knockout here would be incredible. Because even though they have Heatran in the back, I've set up Aurora Veil, and I have Ogerpon and Landorus, and both of those are very good anti-Heatran Pokemon. So they stay in with both, which I'm happy to see. Their best play would be to protect Mamo here and then Tailwind, I think, to set up Heatran. Well, we've got the Ice Terra out now. Choice Specs and Helping Hand boosted. We'll see if they go for knockoff onto that slot. Here's Helping Hand. Okay, they don't protect. This should just be a double knockout this turn then. They actually have for Icicle Crash onto the Ninetales slot. Okay. So that gets the knockout, but we should get a double knockout in return. What Icicle Crash, by the way, covers for is just me switching Ninetales out into, for example, the Ogerpon. But that's a double knockout, which is very nice. Beautiful. So I can bring out Ogerpon or Landorus. I mean, I think they definitely are going to bring in Heatran right now, so I like the idea of bringing Landorus because it pressures Heatran with a one-hit knockout. There's Heatran, yep. And Rillaboom. Okay. So this is also scary for my opponent because a single miss onto the Articuno now will put them in a lot of trouble. Right, if you miss Fake Out here, for example, Blizzard just KOs your Rillaboom, the game's probably just over. But I think in this spot, I'm happy to just click Blizzard and Earth Power. And what's tricky for them is if you end up going for a Terra on your Heatran, you know, Heatran is normally going to use a Terra that Ice actually has a pretty good matchup into. So right now you're 4 times resistant to it, but you probably feel compelled to Terra to get around Landorus. I could click Protect in this position. They're just going to Fake Out into Landorus. Okay, cool. And Heat Wave. And it looks like we are going to get a dodge with the Articuno. Beautiful. But with the Aurora Veil up, we survive that for sure. This is a super bulky Articuno. Even though they're Life Orb, I can do the damage calc after this game to show you all. But Blizzard just picks up a 3rd KO now. This is Articuno doing Articuno things. You know, we got it into a spot where Blizzard could just KO everything, right? So now it is 2 turns of Tailwind. We have Ogre in the back. I'm happy to just click Blizzard here and protect this turn. Okay, and they just end up forfeiting. Let me just pull up the damage calc to show how bulky Articuno is with Aurora Veil, because Life Orb, Heatran, Heat Wave is obviously pretty scary, but the Articuno on this team has so much bulk, so I just want to demonstrate that to you all. So pulling up the calc here, you can see Life Orb, Heat Wave from max special attack Heatran through Aurora Veil into this max HP 4 Spadef Articuno only does 58% max and 48% minimum. So we're definitely tanking that. I think the main thing that they maybe needed to consider that turn is going for either Fake Out onto Articuno and then maybe Terra your Heatran or Terra the Rillaboom. Without a Terra on either, I figured either Blizzard or Earth Power would get the knockout. And if we get the knockout there, then it's just a 2v1 or even a 3v1. And so that just kind of instantly won us the game. But yeah, Helping Hand plus the Blizzard combination plus Choice Specs just does ridiculous amounts of damage, and Articuno picked up 3 knockouts in this game. Okay, we've got Trick Room here. Cresselia, Ursaluna, Flutter, Urshifu, Incineroar, and Amoonguss. This is a pretty compelling Ninetales plus Articuno lead. I think the main thing I'm probably worried about is Instant Flutter main, because you could Fake Out Fairy Terra Moonblast. To which I could switch in Hisuian Arcanine, which would be pretty nice. I like these 3 for sure. For the last one, I'm thinking Ogerpon. Landers is actually pretty interesting in this matchup because of Substitute as well, though. Setting up a sub in front of Ursaluna is actually really nice. But I think Ogre giving me a switch it into Spore is important in this one. I think Raging Bolt is a Pokemon I would very rarely consider in this matchup. They don't have that many special attackers to begin with, so I don't get that much value out of Assault Vest. Snarl's not really going to be very helpful. Draco Meteor's not really that great here. And the electric type attacks also feel pretty useless, right? Like, Thunderclap is just not threatening with super effective damage unless they're Water or Shifu, but you also have Amoonguss with Redirection. Amoonguss can just Spore the Raging Bolt, so pretty easy to eliminate that one from team preview contention, I would say. Otherwise, I think Landers, I actually thought about leading. Landers is really interesting as a lead option into Trick Room because you can set up a substitute as they set up Trick Room. And then between Sub and Protect, it's actually really difficult to get enough value out of your Trick Room. Landers is also nice in this matchup because Ursaluna is a Pokemon that has to decide between using ground type attacks and normal type attacks like Facade. It's going to be Water Pawn and the Urshifu here. Okay. Mainly curious about the Flutter main item. I want to Aurora Veil, but I wonder if it's actually better to like sacrifice something. I'm mainly worried about a double up on Articuno here, but I also think Ninetales applies a lot of pressure. I think I'm just going to send it. Aurora Veil, Terra, Blizzard. Okay, so they stay in. Here's the Terra. One thing to note here is if you Terra Fairy or Flutter main, now I can Extreme Speed you with Choice Band Arcanine in the back, which is pretty good. Also, like, don't discount the opportunity of a miss here, right? It's like if you double up on Articuno, a single miss here will just cost you a ton. And the odds of connecting 2 attacks through Snow on Articuno is only 64%, assuming you're using 2 100% accurate attacks, because both of those get reduced to 80%. Okay, here's the Moonblast. Let's see where it's going. Into Ninetales. Okay, cool. So that gets the knockout, but that's fine because I get a Specs Blizzard off. That could have been Helping Hand, though, which would have been really cool. You're going to go for Surging Strikes here, and it will connect after a little bit of delay, but as you can see here, Articuno is so tanky and is really not threatened too much by this, so that's quite nice. Okay. Fairy Terra Specs Blizzard from Fluttermane is going to be one of your best responses into the Alolan Ninetales. So I think I would prefer to go into Hisuian Arc right now. Okay. Pretty free Extreme Speed onto the Flutter slot. I think I will just Extreme Speed and Blizzard here. I think that last turn is kind of scary because essentially, like, if I could make the read that they target down. Okay, they actually switch out Flutter, which is a really good play. Into Cresselia, sure. Okay. We get E-Speed. They're going to strikes into Arcanine for a KO. The point I wanted to make is if I predict them to target Ninetales, but then they double up on Articuno as I go for Helping Hand, it's a really bad turn for me, right? And so that was the primary thing I was worried about. Blizzard does so much there, though. Oh, my goodness. And we get a freeze on Urshifu. Okay, very nice. So now I can bring out Ogerpon. Curious what their last one is going to be here as well. Ursaluna would make a lot of sense. But with this, I'm down to just Horn Leech and Blizzard. I'm not sure if the freeze actually matters, since Ogre is just going to be faster than Urshifu here anyway, and they shouldn't be Scarf, given that Flutter was faster than Ursh. But of course, one of the nice things about this team is when you click Blizzard so frequently with both Articuno and Ninetales, your odds of getting a freeze are actually pretty solid. So Hornleech gets the knockout here. It's kind of crazy to see an Articuno just take down a Cresselia with 2 Blizzards and a little bit of chip damage from Extreme Speed. Okay. Let's see what they got in the back. I would expect Ursaluna, personally. But Incineroar here could be awkward. It is Ursaluna, so... Okay, I mean, I feel like Specs Blizzard here should just be really powerful. So I think I just go for Follow Me here. And Blizzard. I guess the question is whether or not we think a Specs Dazzle KOs from this range. Because then my other play would be to actually Horn Leech. But I trust in Articuno. You got me, right, Articuno? And it's like, so if they go for Moonblast, they lose the game immediately. If they go for Dazzling, they only have an 80% chance to win, even if it gets the knockout. And they go for Moonblast. Beautiful. I do want to do the Dazzle calc, or sorry, the Dazzle calc after this game. Moonblast crits, but that's fine. Articuno's faster than the Ursaluna, so even if we don't KO Ursaluna, Blizzard will KO Fluttermane, and it's 1v1, and with the snow buff boost to defense, I should survive. But this Pokemon is just nuts. This game was a little bit scary because if they had Incineroar as their last one over Ursaluna, I think I would have been in a little bit more trouble. I'm not sure I love how I traded in this early game. I could have made a really sick play by going for Helping Hand immediately on turn 1. But you know, the thing is, if I go for Helping Hand and get that knockout on a Fluttermane, my opponent gets Cresselia in immediately. And I actually can't knock out Cresselia, even with like Blizzard plus another strong attack from what I have in the back. So it's actually really good that we were able to force Cresselia to switch in. Like, I actually think my opponent would have been better off in this game just sacrificing Fluttermane. What you do is you sacrifice Fluttermane, you attack with the Urshifu, then you bring out Cresselia, and then you just Trick Room. Because once Trick Room is set up, I struggle a ton against Ursaluna. Ursaluna is a very weak Pokemon if Trick Room is not set up, so the fact that they switched in meant that they just took a ton of chip damage, and then Cresselia just could not survive another Blizzard afterwards. And so, yeah, I mean, the Articuno's damage output was just ridiculous in this game once again, right? Got a knockout onto Cresselia with 2 Blizzards, got a one-hit KO onto Ursaluna, was able to finish off the Fluttermane, was able to do over 50% to the Urshifu as well. So the Articuno we had was at 121 HP, so even if you're max special attack, Choice Specs, Fairy, Terra, Fluttermane, Dazzling Gleam does at max 114 damage, and most Specs Flutters aren't running max special attack either, and so we survived the Dazzling Gleam 100% of the time from the range Articuno was at. So Follow Me plus Blizzard was basically a guaranteed win. Even if you end up protecting Ursaluna, Blizzard just KOs you the subsequent turn. So in my eyes, what was really big in that game was just Articuno not actually taking too much damage, and then also them sacrificing Cresselia instead of just getting rid of Flutter so that they could bring Cresselia safely to set up Trick Room. So yeah, Articuno is a Pokemon that can just steamroll through teams, and there's not really that many Pokemon that can even safely switch into a Blizzard. Okay, I see some more Pokemon that Articuno loves going up against, but there is a Metagross and a Champao. I think Metagross is actually insanely scary for the Ice Duo because of Bullet Punch pressure onto Ninetales. Champao is interesting, right? Like, we can Moonblast plus Blizzard into it. To beat Metagross, I definitely want to use a combo of Ogre, Arcanine, and Landorus. I think Ogre and Ninetales is interesting here, just to try to guarantee the Aurora Veil, personally. Because they have Flutter, right? And Flutter is scary, because it outpaces our team. I think Ogre Arcanine is also a worthwhile lead to consider. It's actually quite good into Pow Knight because I can just go for like Rock Slide. I would love to set up Aurora Veil though. My main decision is whether or not I want to bring Landorus in this one. It's really good into Metagross, pretty good into Rillaboom, not that great into everything else. So I think I personally want to try Ogre Ninetales lead with Hisuian and Articuno in the back. I don't think Bolt makes that much sense here. Metagross is the primary thing I'm worried about, and Bolt's not even that good into it, nor is it really that good into most of their team, right? Like, Flutter's just immune. The main thing here is whether or not I should be dropping Landorus, because I think Landorus is also really solid. In fact, I think he could even be a really good lead option if our opponent decides to go with Metagross, right? Imagine they lead Rillaboom plus Metagross, like Ninetales, or sorry, Landorus would be so good into that combo. So let's see. Okay. This is a really smart lead by them because even if I had led the Landorus, Chien-Pao would have covered for it. So I like that lead a lot by my opponent. I think here I'm down to just follow me. You know, at first I thought about follow me plus Aurora Veil, but to be honest, Metagross is such a big problem here. Like, even if I set up Aurora Veil, then where do I go from there, right? So instead, I'm actually thinking about... Because Chien-Pao's dropping their defense right now, so I actually think I want to go for this. Terra, Ivy Cudgel, and Helping Hand. They do have Rillaboom, though, so I'm a little bit scared about committing my Terra like that. I think I could also go Ivy Cudgel, Fire Terra, and Aurora Veil. Yeah, I'm going to go for that. So the reason here is because Metagross Bullet Punch is actually really scary. Ivy Cudgel does decent damage, and I think if we clear the Metagross, Articuno becomes a huge threat. With Fire Terra here, they actually have not that very much offense into us. So let's see. Yep, they go for Bullet Punch. Okay, cool. Nice. And just Ice Spinner. That's fine. 185 down to 79. Ivy Cudgel with that defense drop does so much damage. And we set up Aurora Veil now. Beautiful. Does Spinner get the knockout? It's kind of close. But since you're running Spinner, if I just Spiky Shield here and you attack into it, that's really bad for them. So I'm down to Spiky Shield this turn and go for Moonblast onto Chien-Pao. It would be my dream if they just attack into us, but they're smart and click Protect. Okay, nicely done. And I'm wondering if then Metagross decides to launch like a Stomping Tantrum into Articuno, or sorry, into Ninetales. But I figured they might be a little bit scared here because obviously I could just Ivy Cudgel the Metagross slot for a knockout. What? Oh, I didn't see that coming. Oh, that's a really cool combo. Okay. I mean, that does eliminate one of the big threats to our team, and I actually would have really preferred Ninetales to faint there to give me a free switch in, but it's fine. I could switch the Ogre Pawn now out into Articuno to take physical attacks. And this is why I didn't want to Terra, right? They do indeed have Rillaboom in the back. I guess the interesting thing here, though, is like if Spinner is not a knockout here, I can just go for Horn Leech, and that's so much damage. How much did the first one do? 106? I would expect to survive, actually. But if they get a high roll, I guess that could be scary. But I also think it's pretty free to just double switch right now, right? Because they should fake out. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Intimidate is so good in this spot. I'm down to double switch. We have Aurora Veil up right now. Let's get an Intimidate onto both of their physical attackers. And now we've gotten Articuno into a pretty good spot. And Hisuian Arcanine with Choice Band after intimidating both of these is also in a pretty good spot. Like, Aurora Veil just makes these Pokemon so difficult to knock out right now. I don't know. I think it could have been worthwhile to try to just stay in with Ogre there and get all the healing up. But there's Fake Out. Yep. And Spinner. Perfect. That did 27 damage. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. And they get rid of their own terrain, which is interesting. Like one of the consequences of running Spinner. I mean, here, like, I have 2 changes of Snow. I'm down to just Blizzard and Rock Slide, I think. My main decision is whether or not I want to click Extreme Speed instead. That covers for an Urshifu switching a little bit better. But then it doesn't cover for a Flutter switch in as well. So I'll go for Rock Slide. Yeah, they switch and protect is your best play here. So I thought about Extreme Speeding or like Flare Blitzing. But let's see what they bring out. Flutter, beautiful. I think with this, the game is actually in such a good spot for us. If we don't miss Rock Slide, this should just be a knockout on a Flutter. And then like Rillaboom doesn't really put my opponent in much better of a position, right? So here's Rock Slide. Does connect, beautiful. Choice and Rock Slide with Sword of Ruin almost gets the knockout. Beautiful. So a lot about this team is if you're using Articuno, and Articuno comes out in so many games, but you got to identify like what are the big threats to it, right? I think leading it in this game would have been a disaster for me because Ninetales and Articuno is just completely wrecked by the Metagross. So essentially what I saw is, okay, if we can eliminate Metagross early, and ideally they'll be forced to lead it because they're going to be a little bit worried about this Articuno Ninetales combo. If we can force a knockout onto it early on, it opens the door for Articuno completely, right? Because if you look at my opponent's team, everything else takes neutral damage from Blizzard unless it's Water Urshifu. I actually don't know what form of Urshifu they have there, but yeah. And, you know, if you're Water Urshifu, it's actually kind of hard to bring into this matchup because I have an Ogerpon as well as Raging Bolt. So they bring Rillaboom back in. Obviously, you could Fake Out right now. My Ninetales is valuable since Snow ends after this turn, so I actually don't mind just staying with both Mons right now, just Blizzard and Rock Slide. Okay, they go for Fake Out on Arcanine, that's fine. Now you just take Specs Blizzard. Sacred Sword misses Articuno, but you're at -1 and I have a Aurora Veil up. Yeah, Blizzard almost just gets that KO. So that's the thing with this Articuno. I think when people look at this Articuno, you probably think, oh, like, you know, it's Snow Veil, like it probably has to rely on it a lot to win. But the reality is that this Pokemon is so bulky, like it's just an added bonus. Like you don't really need it. They still haven't committed their Terra. I think I'm happy to just Blizzard here, reset the Snow right now. Like with the defense boost and Aurora Veil, you are not knocking this thing out. Unless you crit. I think they probably need a double crit though. Yeah. And now we're in an end game where Hisu and Arcanine can also just click Extreme Speed, right? So they're going to Glide. Arcanine slot. So now Ninetales ends up fainting, but that's fine. The whole point of conserving Ninetales was to reset up Snow. It's really important to count your Snow turns, obviously, when using Articuno, right? Sacred Sword misses again? I'll pull up the damage calc, though, so you all can see how much it does, because I don't think it would really do anything to us here. So Rillaboom faints. And I'm showing you all these calcs because I don't even know them off the top of my head. I think one of the reasons why this team is able to succeed is because no one has experienced fighting against Articuno. Now it's going to become a lot more popular, obviously, and so people will have experience. But going into this regional, or I should say special event, like, I guarantee you I would have never played against Articuno. And especially not against someone piloting it at the skill level of a regional champion, right? And so it makes it so much more difficult because you just have no idea how much damage you're ever going to do. But the key thing in this game was really just identifying that Metagross was kind of the main barrier to Articuno, and then also with the kind of like locking them into a pretty tough spot, right? When you have double physical attackers, like Arcanine plus the Articuno just pinned them into a really tricky spot. So yeah, just go for Follow Me and Blizzard again. And like Arcanine being able to intimidate and put on so much offensive pressure is just a beautiful combination here. Okay, Follow Me. Yeah, they just Ice Spinner. And that did like 44 damage, yeah. And Articuno delivers the finishing blow. Perfect. But yeah, I think like it's so tempting to lead Ninetales Articuno a lot with this team, so like please be careful because there are a lot of things that can actually give that a lot of trouble, right? If you run into a fire type, a steel type, a fire Terra, a steel Terra, things can get kind of weird early on. And so I think like Ninetales plus Ogerpon is a cool lead because you actually have a lot of offensive pressure with Helping Hand plus Water Terra, with Ivy Cudgel, for example. In this game, like, I didn't want to commit my Terra like that because while it's tempting to get the knockout onto Metagross, like, then Rillaboom just comes out and you click Grassy Glide onto Ogerpon and it's a disaster, right? And they did end up having Rillaboom in the back, and so instead we were able to safely get Auroraville up. Going for that Terra just meant that they couldn't knock out Ninetales, and with Auroraville up, we were just taking no damage. But let me show you the Chien-Pao calcs real quick. I'm like looking at this calc and it's hard to believe it's even real. So -1 Sacred Sword from Max Attack Chien-Pao Admin against this Articuno in Snow through Auroraville does 21 to 25 damage, which is 11 to 13%. So yeah, I mean, of course you could have the chance to crit, and a crit would actually make things a lot more interesting, but even with the crit, like 2 critical hits does maximum 82%, right? And so yeah, that's why I thought it was so important to set up that Auroraville, because once it's set up, there's just such little damage pressure onto the Articuno slot. So Auroraville is just a really darn good move, right? And if you're able to get it and you're able to position an Articuno becomes so difficult to knock out. All right, that win gets us to Master Ball tier, so I was like, what Pokemon is that? That's Hisuian Braviary, Mousehold, Dunsparce, Farigiraf, Comfey, and Malamar. I am about to get cooked. I just know it. Like, these teams are always the scariest because you just have no idea what's going on. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. I kind of want to just lead Ninetales and Articuno. I'm so confused. Hisuian Arc? Extreme Speed's a little bit weaker here. I almost want to go with Ogerpon as a lead just for Follow Me, because I don't know what's coming right now. I'll have it in the back for sure. I don't think Bolt's that good here. Thunderclap is blocked by Farigiraf. Comfey walls us. I think I want Landorus for the offensive pressure it has. I'm about to get cooked. I just feel it in my bones. But these teams are always just so funny to go up against in best of one, right? Because you're going to see something crazy for sure. I don't know what that is. So, yeah. There's just a lot of unfamiliar Pokemon in this matchup. I mean, actually, not that many unfamiliar ones. It's really the Hisuian Braviary. But it's Mouse and Sparse. Okay. Oh. Kind of want to just Auroraville, Terra, Blizzard. I also thought about Helping Hand here, but generally in a matchup where I don't know what my opponent wants to do, I'd rather just get a little bit more bulk going. I'm fascinated though, honestly. Something crazy is, I feel like, about to happen. Okay, no Terra. Or it could be a slower Terra from their end. Okay. I really don't know what to expect right now. Yep, it is a slower Terra. Okay. Fire Terra? Rock? It's self-target. I'm gonna get cooked. Weakness policy, stored power. Oh. I should have let Ogerpon. I even used the Dunsparce once in the beginning of Scarlet and Violet. Ogerpon just hard shuts this down. Because you could just go for Follow Me. I mean, I'm assuming I'm not surviving this, right? Unless they target Ninetales for some reason. Oh! Okay. We might be okay then. Although, once again, Helping Hand would have been better there. But now I just bring out Ogre and just Follow Me Blizzard. And we even freeze Mouse, which is a nice benefit. But I don't think it makes too much of a difference. Cool. I should have seen that coming, though. I think in team preview, I just, like, didn't put 2 and 2 together. And I haven't fought against the Dunsparce in so long that I just had no idea what to expect. But this strategy makes a lot of sense. Anyway, just follow me, Blizzard, here. Like, the thing is, their team has no Blizzard answer, right? Your best bet right now is protect the Dunsparce, sacrifice Mousehold, bring out Comfy, and then draining... Or, sorry, not draining kits. Like, heal up your Dunsparce. Okay, that works. Thaw's out. I mean, this is going to be a double knockout now. Oh, unless they have some spread move. Oh. Yo, this is crazy. Amnesia. Oh, but we just crit them. I'm sorry. They did. I mean, I think they actually should win this game because with that Amnesia boost, you bring out Comfy, and then with Comfy, you just heal yourself up. So, yeah, they deserve to win this one. My adjustment, if I were to play against this team again, by the way, is just to always lead Ogerpon. I would probably just go Ogre. I actually don't know what I would lead, though. I would want Ogre in something that just knocks out. Okay, Malamar plus... Let me try to actually finish the game first, before talking about what I would do differently. They didn't have Comfy, though, so that actually makes me feel a little bit better. Meaning that, like, I was thinking they just hard win this if you have Comfy, because then you just start healing yourself infinitely. But even if we didn't get that crit, like, Blizzard brings you really low, and then I just go for Follow Me Blizzard again next turn anyway. So, yeah. But I thought they would have Comfy in the back for sure. Against this duo, I will Ivy Cudgel, Malamar, and Blizzard. Oh, they just end up forfeiting. Okay. I mean, that was a really, really cool team. I think Comfy in the back would have been really strong. Because like I said, you could protect the Dunsparce and then switch in Comfy. Yeah. But anyway, I think the difference maker... Or sorry, what I would do differently if I were to play that team again is just lead Ogerpon. I'm mainly thinking about what I would lead next Ogerpon, though. Like, Hisuian is actually interesting. Because... you can just click Rock Slide, and I don't really care for the Amnesia on the Dunsparce, right? Oh, it looks like my Wi-Fi just disconnected, so at least it happened after the game. But yeah, I think like Hisuian would be interesting with Ogerpon and just use physical attackers early. The problem is I didn't really want to lead Hisuian Arcanine when they had Malamar in team preview, because I was afraid of just giving that in a boost immediately. But that was just a crazy, crazy team. Okay, we've got Tornadus here. Now, Tornadus in Best of 1 can be tricky because you can run Rain Dance or Sunny Day on it. Sunny Day would make no sense on my opponent's team here with no Photosynthesis or Fire-type attackers. But Rain Dance would make a lot of sense with Ogerpon and Urshifu. So you gotta be a little bit careful. We haven't really featured Assault Vest Raging Bolt. It is interesting here. It can be good into Golden Go, and Electro Web is actually really nice here, and it's amazing into Tornadus. I actually don't hate it as an option here. Like, I'd love to bring Landorus, but I think the pressure of Tailwind plus Ogre is kind of scary. I don't hate a Ninetales plus Bolt lead with Articuno and Arcanine in the back. I think our own Ogerpon also makes some sense here. My fear is that it just doesn't do enough damage. It's walled by Dragonite. Ogre on their side can cause some problems as well. So, let's try this out. I do think the problem in what I'm bringing is that I'm a little bit more weak to Golden Go than I would be if I brought Landorus or the... if I brought Landorus or the Ogerpon. But both of those are decent in a Golden Go, right? Landorus obviously pressures Earth Power and forces a Terra. And if you're Fairy Terra, I just Sludge Bomb you. But it's going to be Torn Golden Go. Okay, I'm happy to see that. I think the main interesting thing here on turn 1 is what to do with the Alolan Ninetales slot. Because you can obviously just Tailwind plus make it rain right now. So I think I actually want a Terra, Aurora Veil, and Snarl. Just double checking what they have in the back. I don't know if I need to Snarl, actually. Because, like, you're not doing much damage with Make It Rain from this point anyway. I guess what Snarl helps with is Nasty Plot right now. But even if you plot, you're not doing that much damage, to be honest. So I'll go for Electro Whip here. I do think... And, like, a random Rain Dance here could be really, really scary. I say random, but, like, Rain Dance makes a ton of sense on Tornadus. So I do think that's one of the downsides of using this team in closed team sheet as opposed to open team sheet in tournaments. Because in tournaments, you always know if the Tornadus has Rain Dance. Ah. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. It could be worse. Yeah. Like, it's not the end of the world because I still end up surviving with Ninetales, right? So now you'll probably want a Tailwind, but... Oh, we miss. Okay, that was not a great miss. I mean, Golden Go can, like, Shadow Ball right now. That felt like Choice Specs damage to me, personally. I don't want to switch either of these in. It's kind of tempting to click Blizzard here, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I guess I could have tried to play around a potential Rain Dance there and just assume they have it, but it's tricky. I honestly want to just Moonblast Golden Go because it covers for their switch-ins on Electro Web. Okay, they just stay in. Oh, they're Bleak Winding here. That's smart. That's really smart. Speed drop. It's decent damage, but not a 2-hit KO on Torn either, which is a little scary. Yeah, I don't know. I think Fire Terra, maybe just Helping Hand Electro Web would have been stronger turn 1. Because I waste... Like, this is the downside in closed team sheet, right? Like, this would not happen in an open team sheet environment. So I think I should have adjusted accordingly. What do I want to bring out now? I mean, with Hisuian Arc, I do have Banded Extreme Speed, but this Tornadus appears to be a little bit bulky. And I committed my Terra already, which is the main downside of this, I would say. The reason to Extreme Speed is just so that they don't get Tailwind up. But I suppose I'll probably be slower than them anyway. Extreme Speed's not a bad move against what they have in the back, though. Okay, I'm going to go for Rock Slide Electro Web. I'm hoping they switch Golden Go out here, but they're very smart and don't switch out. So, yeah. I should have played better around the potential of Rain Dance. That's on me. Knockout Torn. Did we miss another Electro Web? Nope, that was just a delay. Okay. Yeah, I guess we ended up missing on turn 1 anyway, but if I could replay turn 1, I think Helping Hand like Fire Terra Helping Hand Electro Web is a sick play. Now you just bring out your sweepers. Dragonite Chien-Pao? Huh. If you have Stomping Tantrum or Aqua Jet, you just go for that onto this slot right now. And then Ice type attack into this. It's actually theoretically still winnable, I think. Especially if you were a Banded D-Knight. I want to switch an Articuno here. Switch an Articuno and Thunderclap, I think. And the idea here, I don't know if Thunderclap plus E-Speed's a knockout onto the Chien-Pao slot. Oh, I think it actually is. Okay. Yep, so they crash. Stomping. Yeah. Okay. This is where the game gets really, really interesting because I wonder if you're Choice Band Dragonite. If you're Banded Dragonite, Articuno walls you. I don't think I'll click Sheer Cold. I should just be Ice Beam, I think, in this endgame. Blizzard is interesting, but it just misses so frequently. I mean, Articuno actually should win against Champao in this endgame. Like, the main thing is they haven't Terra'd, right? So this being Ghost Terra makes a lot of sense. I'm going to double one Dragonite here. So I think, like, Ghost Terra Champao is an option. I think Champao could protect as you Terra Dragonite as well. Yep. I think if you're doing this, you have to be protecting the Champao. Let's see. Oh, they didn't. Oh, but it was wow. Rocky Helmet. Do I survive E-Speed plus another Sacred? I mean, the problem is Ice Beam is not a KO. Wow. That was like the worst item to run into. Oh, we almost got the KO too. If we get the knockout, I think we just win. You just E-Speed Sacred Sword now, right? I don't think I survived two more Sacred Swords than an E-Speed. Oh, wow. That was so... And they have Iron Head. Okay. Not much we can do about that. Rocky Helmet. I mean, it was so close, too. We almost got the knockout on a Dragonite there. Ice Beam was just the strongest attack. I guess I could have gone for Sheer Cold instead, but I don't... I figured Dragonite would actually faint even with the Terra there, which is why I E-Speeded it. So, the Dragonite was a lot bulkier than I anticipated. If I just clicked Extreme Speed there onto the Champao, though, I think I would have won. But I thought Champao protecting there would have been a really safe and obvious play. Like, you just protect and then Stomping Tantrum to KO us, right? Because, like, most players would just E-Speed into Champao. And you don't have that much to lose from that. But if I'd actually just made the obvious Extreme Speed into Champao, we get that knockout before Sucker Punch moves. Then Ice Beam does, like, 50% to the Dragonite. And then I should win the 1v1. Well, actually, I don't know if I do. I mean, Ice Beam did a lot, right? So I think it looked like it should be a 2-hit knockout onto Dragonite. But I guess if it's not a 2-hit KO, like, they can also flinch me or crit me with Iron Head. I also didn't expect Iron Head. Like, that is a really interesting moveset with Rocky Helmet, Normal Terra. Okay, normally, if you're Normal Terra, you want to just run, like, Choice Band or Assault Vest. So I wasn't expecting that. But, yeah, I think the main thing here is the Rain Dance kind of caught me off guard. What else could I have thought? I mean, the Thunderclap play was fine. Yeah, I don't regret making that play, and the switch into Articuno was fine. I think turn 1 I just messed up and didn't respect Rain Dance enough, so that's something that I think you just have to do a little bit more when you're playing on ladder and closed team sheets. Okay. Archaladon, Whimsicott, Annihilate, Chi-Yu, Bundle, and Sandy Shocks. Yo. Well, I fell for beat up earlier, so I don't want to lose to it again here. Meaning, I think I want to lead Ogre for sure. AV Bolt into a lot of special attackers seems quite nice here. With Snarl. But I might want to go Ninetales first. I mean, Landorus's damage also looks great here. Bundle is spooky. Maybe I dropped the Snow Duo in this one. I don't know. Blizzard's still not bad, but I'm worried that it doesn't do enough damage quickly enough. And I also am actually worried about Sunny Day on Whimsicott. So basically, my hesitance in bringing Articuno is if I'm bringing it, I normally need Ninetales, and Ninetales looks really bad to bring in this one. So, okay. I'm going to try a game without it and see how it plays out. I think the problem here is that they have a lot of speed, which is a big concern. So with the amount of speed they have, it's harder to get Ninetales set up, right? Like, what this Ninetales loves to do is, against slower paced teams, just set up Auroraville before your opponent can KO you. But here they threaten with something like Whimsicott Chiyu. Yeah, exactly. Tailwind Sunny Day. And that's exactly what I wanted to avoid. I'm also worried about Encore, given that this is closed team sheet. So I think I'd like to Terra, Cudgel, and Snarl. They don't Terra, okay. It could just be a lot of different things they could do here. Sunny Day, Heat Wave with Choice Scarf, Tailwind, Heat Wave, Fake Tears, Dark Pulse. Chiyu could even Protect as Whimsicott just goes for some setup. A lot of options. Yeah. Okay. A lot of Chiyus these days are Specs or Scarfs. At least on teams like this that I've seen. Okay, they just go for Taunt. That's not the worst. I could have launched Ivy Cudgel into Whimsicott, but there's no double up on Whimsicott that even gets the knockout, so yeah. Whims is actually kind of annoying for Raging Bolt to fight against. But that breaks a potential Sash, which is not... Oh, you are Covert Cloak. Okay. Never mind the Sash. I gotta respect Annihilate as a switch-in right now, for sure. Fake Tears, Dark Pulse, also a possibility. What's their switch-in into this right now? It would be Archaladon. I'm gonna Cudgel this and Draco this. Yep. What's switching in? Okay, that's fine. Getting a Draco off onto that slot is great. Please no special attack drop. Okay. Spoken into existence. Oh, if that means I missed the knockout now, that'll be kind of sad. Looks... I mean, I would think it's Assault Vest Archaladon. It is AV, but it's okay, because I can just go for Thunderclap onto that now. Yeah, I'm just going to Cudgel and Thunderclap. This is the kind of classic, like, okay, you have Whimsicott out, but what are you really doing with it, right? So far, they revealed Taunt and Moonblast, which is standard. Tailwind for sure. Oh, you're not AV. Okay, yeah. I didn't know my calc super well there. That's fine, though. They just Tailwind. Like, that slot is still just left exposed, right? And we have Hisu and Arcanine. Like, the special defense boost on Ogre is good as well. It's mainly a question of what Whim's last move is. Taunt wears off now. I could get fancy here and predict them to, like, switch out Archaladon and switch my moves up, but I think it's fine to just force Thunderclap into this slot. Nah, that special attack drop is unfortunate, though, because the prediction I made would have just gotten a knockout onto it immediately. They go for another Protect, which is smart. Allowing them to get a Moonblast off. Yeah. It's fine, though. 165 down to 93, so 72 damage. So I can survive another Moonblast for sure. Them being Covert Cloak is actually really annoying here as well. You normally use that to obviously bypass Fake Out, but the secondary benefit of ignoring the Snarl drop is actually really nice for them, because then those Moonblasts would have all done way less damage, right? You need to go into your 4th Mon right now, though. If it's Annihilate, it gets really interesting, but they actually just bring Chiyu in, okay? I do wonder if it's Fake Tears. You can just Moonblast this slot now. I don't hate switching to Hisu and Arcanine. Cudgel, Whimsicott, switch and Arc. The idea behind this is, like, if Chi-Yu protects and I Cudgel Whimsicott, then I just Extreme Speed Whimsicott and then Cudgel Chi-Yu next turn. However, I do think Sash Chi-Yu here could be very likely. But Arcanine obviously is a good switch into multiple attacks here. Okay, Chi-Yu protects. Perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Now I'm curious if it's Fake Tears. Nope, just Taunt. Okay. That works. Yeah, like, this is just the classic syndrome of Whimsicott teams sometimes, where, like, Whimsicott... Ooh, I don't know if Banded E-Speed actually KOs from that range. Not 100% sure. Last turn of Tailwind. It could be Protect, I guess. Something Shatera here. I don't know. Fake Tears Dark Pulse Arcanine now makes sense. I'm gonna Extreme Speed Cudgel Whims. Nice. Okay. Extreme Speed does get the KO. Cool. Mainly I was worried about this turn was Ghost Terra. But they don't even go for Fake... Or sorry, they can't go for Fake Tears because I KO them. And it's Life Orb Chi-Yu. Beautiful. And we don't flinch. Okay, awesome. Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I think Articuno is interesting in this one, but I don't love leading it into Chi-Yu, right? Chi-Yu just resists it. And with Whimsicott potentially having Sunny Day in this matchup, like, I just lost against Tornadus with Rain Dance. I think Sunny Day as the fourth move would actually make a ton of sense, and I want to respect that as an option, but this is perfect. We stall out Tailwind. I think Annihilate should have come in first over Chi-Yu in the mid-game, because Chi-Yu was not really putting on that much pressure into an Ogre Palm plus Bolt combo. But to be honest, even with the Annihilate bout, I still had Follow Me. What you would need to do is taunt me, so then I can't follow me, and then go for Beat Up, I think. That would have been their play. Last turn of Taunt. Annihilate still isn't Terra, though, so let's be a little bit careful. Here I'm happy to just Ivy Cudgel. Switch into Bolt. I mean, it's 4v1, so we shouldn't be sweating that much, but against an Annihilate, you always have to be a little bit careful, I think. And I can't Spiky Shield here because I'm taunted, so I have to attack, but no Terra. Okay, I was expecting like a Water Terra here this turn, but even if they Water Terra, then I can just Thunderclap you. Close Combat Annihilate. Oh, interesting. And it's not Citrus Annihilate either, so this might just be a more offensive set. What's your item, though? Leftovers? Because you're not Scarfed. Huh. I have no idea. Yep, no lefties. Okay, we just bring Lando now. Yeah, the good thing here is Assault Vest Bolt was able to just tank so many attacks. And the double up nailing the Archaludon on the switch in was really key. If I went for something like a Snarl that turn, Archaludon would have put on so much more pressure. Because then you taunt me and then you can just Draco into the Raging Bolt slot. Okay, Annihilate protects, that's fine. I mean, Annihilate's never going to win this endgame by itself, right? All I need is one more attack onto it. Okay. Also, they don't have speed control, so Earth Power always just outspeeds and KOs here. Yeah. But close combat's really interesting. Like, no leftovers on Annihilate either really makes me wonder what the item is. Because I assume it's Beat Up with Whimsicott. So that would actually... The whole time I was wondering, what is Whimsicott's fourth move? Like, it's Beat Up, right? I guess it could be something else, but Beat Up with Annihilate on the team makes the most sense. So then it would be Beat Up, Moonblast, Taunt, Tailwind, which I think checks out. Especially with Covert Cloak, the idea is you lead Whimsicott Annihilate, you can't fake out either Pokemon, and you just go for Beat Up immediately. I think it's got to be Beat Up. I can't see it being anything else. Sunny Day is the only other move you could justify. But yeah, it's funny because I mentioned Beat Up in the beginning, and then I was like, what is the secret fourth move? But I think that would logically make the most sense by far. But yeah, they never actually got the Beat Up off in this game, so the game was a lot more difficult for them. Like I said, I think if in the mid-game they brought out the Annihilate immediately instead of Chi-Yu, the Whimsicott was still relatively bulky, so then it's like you taunt the Ogre Pawn, which they had done, you know, a couple times. But you taunt Ogre Pawn, prevent the Follow Me, and then just go for Beat Up like the next turn, and then Annihilate might just have enough sweeping potential from there. But because they brought out Chi-Yu, they were not able to put on very much offensive pressure, and then by the time Annihilate came out, there's just not much it could do. Okay. We've got Armarouge here. What are you doing there? Is there some... weak armor, weakness policy stuff going on here? I mean, after playing Dunsparce, like, Roaring Moon activating it? Huh. I'll tell you what, Armarouge is not a great matchup for Alolan Ninetales and Articuno, so if we can clear it, then I think this combo just destroys. Alright, I'm just gonna lead Ogerpon Ninetales, because I feel like there's some shenanigans going on here. Let's do an Arcanine in the back. Let's get into Armarouge. Like, I don't know. I actually am really confused about Armarouge's role here, because there's no Psychic Terrain. So, without Psychic Terrain, I'm naturally inclined to think it's weak armor weakness policy, and like Roaring Moon activates it. Does Roaring Moon have any like side target attacks that would be able to pull off that combo? Alright, well, it's Flutter Mane Roaring Moon as a lead. What do I want to do here? Speed or attack? I think I want to just follow me here in Aurora Veil personally. With the speed booster sets, I normally expect like Tailwind, Knockoff, Breaking Swipe, Protect, but I guess you could theoretically be flying Terra Acrobatics. But then if you commit your Terra, then your Flutter Mane isn't going to KO my Ninetales unless it's Power Gem or Mystic Fire. Yeah, no Terra. I think we should be able to get Aurora Veil up here, which is really good. Oh, great. Yeah, they go for knockoff. And Moonblast, good. Gets a crit, but that's fine. I mean, the scary thing here... So, I set up Aurora Veil, but... knockoff on Articuno is still really scary. You can still knock off Moonblast this slot. I can actually switch in Hisuian Arcanine instead, then. It's interesting because if your Specs Moonblast, then Flutter's in a weird spot. But then Flutter could just switch out as Roaring Moon Protects, which is my main concern. Okay, I'll still bring on Articuno here, but I don't know. I actually think you can make a very good argument for our Ninetales here. Or sorry, with Arcanine here. But I think I'm going to just send it, Helping Hand Blizzard. Not really worried about Moonblast. It's more about knockoff removing Choice Specs. I think the other thing is if I bring out Hisuian Arcanine, they can just go for Breaking Swipe. Or you could protect Roaring Moon, switch Flutter Mane out into, say, Cresselia. But they don't have great Blizzard switch-ins. The only real one is Armarouge. But now that they didn't lead it, I question if they even have it. Okay, knockoff does connect. Not too much damage, which is okay. And Icy Wind. Oh, interesting. Huh. What kind of Flutter Mane set is this? You're not Booster Energy. You have Moonblast and Icy Wind. So then the crit on Ogerpon actually definitely mattered. That's okay, though. What can you do? Okay, that's so much damage, though. I mean, Flutter is actually more of a liability for my opponent than anything right now, I would say. Cresselia switches in. Okay. I don't mind that. Happy to Blizzard here. I'm not going to lie. I actually think if there's ever a time to go for Sheer Cold, it's here. Because it's a 30% chance to win the game right now outright. But I think Double Blizzard also works because we have good chances of freeze. Or just Helping Hand Blizzard. You know what's also really interesting? So I think if you're playing like this, you're positioned to protect Flutter, or sorry, sacrifice Flutter to get Ursaluna in. I'm actually going to click Sheer Cold here in Blizzard. Yeah, they just Moonblast. Oof. Well, good thing I clicked Sheer Cold. Please, just one time. 30% chance to win the game on the spot right now. Oh, they didn't even go for Trick Room. It's Icy Wind, huh? Okay. How funny would it have been? It's fine. Like, the Blizzard damage wouldn't have really been super relevant there anyway, right? That special attack drop does sting a little bit. 2 turns of Snow, 5 turns of Aurora Veil. Seems crazy, but I honestly want to click Sure Cold again here. But now it might be time to just click Blizzard. I think this should Terra, personally. That should definitely Terra. Terra Ghost is what I would expect. Yeah, it's just like -1 Blizzards without Choice Specs really is not doing too much damage. Okay, I'm gonna Sure Cold, switch an Arc. The good thing is because Ursaluna just came out on the field, it's not actually exerting that much offensive pressure right now. And between Snow and the Intimidate and Aurora Veil, like Articuno's not threatened very much right now. So it's like if we just hit 1 Sure Cold out of 3 or 4 attempts, we'll see if I actually get that many attempts. But okay, they just end up protecting. That's fine. Icy Wind again. Okay. Yep. I think it would have been worthwhile to target Crest there, but I was worried about Terra, Ursaluna, Swords Dance that turn. Probably go for Facade now, I would think, right? Could just be an Earthquake as well. It's the last turn of Snow, but I do actually want to switch Arcanine out here to reset that drop. Okay, Sure Cold again. I don't know. I think this is an example of a game where it actually makes sense to click Sure Cold a bunch because I don't think any of those Blizzards would have really changed too much other than maybe fishing for a freeze. Especially with that special attack drop from Moonblast earlier. Okay, they go for Earthquake. Yep. That did no damage at all. Psychic. I mean, there's a reason why this move exists, right? Like, I know it seems silly, but I genuinely thought it made a lot of sense in this position to just keep clicking it. Like, if we hit Cresselia earlier, the game just ends immediately, right? But they didn't Terra in this game. I guess what's the point of Terraing when you know I have Sheer Cold, right? Anyway, I'm just so happy to showcase that. So happy. And once again, the odds of you hitting a Sheer Cold when you're clicking it multiple times is actually pretty decent. Right now, in this game, it was only 2 attempts, but... Right, it's 30% chance to hit 1. So your odds of missing both Sheer Colds is, 70% chance to miss 1, so it's 49% chance to miss both, right? So the odds of hitting at least 1 Sheer Cold out of 2 attempts is actually a coin flip that's just very slightly in your favor, right? So that's pretty cool. It's 9% chance to hit both your Sheer Colds, and then 42% to hit 1 of 2, right? So 51% to hit at least 1, essentially. And so those odds aren't terrible. And once again, like, I'd be happy just spamming Blizzard in this game, but they got rid of my Choice Specs, and I ate up a special attack drop. And so with them still having their Terra, I think, like, Ursaluna could just easily Terra there. And then my Blizzards are not doing nearly as much damage, right? Whereas if you just hit the Sheer Cold, you win the game immediately. So I know it seems like kind of a crazy move to run, but for situations like this, it can be amazing. You're not going to click it most of the time when you use this team, but against these ultra bulky teams, especially when you've lost your item, like knockoff is fairly common from things like Roaring Moon and Incineroar, or just maybe in endgame scenarios, like imagine you are up against something that's really bulky, but also can't do very much damage to you, something that just doesn't have that much offensive potential, then you just click Sheer Cold a couple times. If you just hit it once, for example, you can win. So yeah. I cannot believe we got to showcase that, though, especially because it wasn't the intention going into this game, but being, able to adapt during a situation is always important. All right. Wanted to play one last game with the team here, and we've got a Blood Moon team, but very unorthodox. No Farigiraf here. There's Gothitelle, Incineroar, Primarina, Moongus, and Flutter. Running into a lot of unique things today, which is really cool to see. Blood Moon is kind of scary here. So they could lead, like, I think Gothitelle is also really scary because we don't have any way to pivot out. There's no U-turns. There's no ghost types. The one ghost type I have is Hisuian Arcanine with Ghost Terra. This is a spooky matchup. I think we actually have a ton of tools to win, but not sure how to best sequence it. Okay, wait, I have a pretty crazy option. I don't know if this will work, but I'm thinking Ninetales is Hisuian Arc. I guess I could just go Insane Goth, though. Articuno in the back. Ogre forth. It's probably Perish on Primarina, too, no? I mean, this is a team that, like, is not very common. Gothitelle has kind of fallen out of the metagame because of the prevalence of Dark Urshifu, but it's actually really scary for us here. No fake out, no like U-turns, no parting shots. Instant Flutter, though. I don't mind that. Okay. Booster. I'd love to see speed here, personally. Okay. So you have no offensive pressure. Well, I shouldn't say no offensive pressure, but not very much. The main thing here is speed booster sets normally run Taunt. So you could easily fake out Hisuian Arc turn 1 and then Taunt. I'm almost contemplating a double switch right now. It also could be Perish Song. You could switch immediately out into Gothitelle and Perish Song right now. This is definitely a Perish Trap team, so I don't think setting up a Roar Mill is actually that important. I'm going to switch into Articuno here and Flare Blitz. The expectation is they go fake out and then Flutter clicks something like Perish Song. Okay, I think this works. They perish, but I just get a one-hit knockout, no? Never mind. It's ultra bulky. That makes sense. Oh, I could have clicked Head Smash there. It's fine, though. I mean, Ghost Terra Arcanine is what's going to save us here, I think. When do I want to Ghost Terra, though? I don't want to do it immediately. Bring out Gothitelle, which makes sense. Now you have Fake Out pressure with that. Could have gone Helping Hand Flare Blitz or clicked Head Smash there. We were intimidated, but honestly, I kind of still thought Choice Band Flare Blitz would get the KO. The other scary thing for them right now is that you could miss moves onto the Articuno slot. There's still 3 turns of Terra, so I don't want to commit my Terra here immediately, but I am going to Terra it. The main reason I don't want to Terra immediately is because I want to make them think like they're just going to get a double knockout. Yep, Protect. Fake Out. Oh, okay, they just Protect. What do we think their final Pokemon is going to be? Primarina? Now your play is you pivot Flutter Mane out and go out into Incineroar, and so it's like Sheer Cold here actually could have been pretty funny too. And now we Ghost Terra, so then I can switch out next turn. Yep, Flutter switches. In should be Incin. I don't know how much Specs Blizzard does to Goth. Like, I don't know. One interesting to consider would have been just Ice Terra Blizzard Flare Blitz if we thought that would actually get a knockout, but it would be a -3 Flare Blitz, and I would expect Gothitelle to be Citrus Berry, so I don't think that's worth it. I'd rather just go for the Ghost Terra so I can switch out. Honestly, I wonder if that... Okay, let's see how much this Blizzard does. Like, that actually did more than I expected. I think I actually would have gotten the knockout there because they're not Citrus. Well, actually, I don't even need to worry about Citrus. What the heck is the item on that, though, is my question then. Huh. Okay, so they set up Trick Room, which makes sense. But now I have Blizzard. I mean, you should just click Fake Out here, but you could miss Fake Out. And I will switch into Ogerpon. Ghost Terra was huge here. I think without Ghost Terra, well, I would say I lose the game, but yeah, I mean, turns out Ice Terra plus Flare Blitz double up in a Goth actually, I think, would have gotten the knockout. Goth protects, makes sense. Oh, now you don't necessarily even need to Fake Out here, but they are going to go for it. We do dodge. Okay, cool. So I get a little bit of free damage on the way out. Nice. Cool. Parrish gets the KO, but that's fine. Now what we do is bring out Hisuian Arc. They haven't Terra'd yet, but Choice Band Rock Slide looks insanely powerful right now. You just protected Gothitelle. So I'm just going to go for Banded Rock Slide here and follow me. I could also Extreme Speed Gothitelle, Ivy Cudgel Instant, but Instant could just go for a knockoff onto Arcanine, which would be bad. I think Follow Me and Rock Slide is really safe here. They commit the Terra, okay. On Instant then? Yep. Okay, to Grass, that's fine. Follow Me also helps if they have like a random heal pulse here for some reason. Feels good. Yep. I figured like I was in such a good spot here. The only way I really could lose is if I like... Well, I shouldn't say like I've won the game yet, but sorry, I should say like lose this turn specifically, right? Essentially, they had to commit their Terra and go for that play, and they still got nothing out of it. So, that was really good. So the trap is broken now, meaning that your odds of winning through Perish are now incredibly slim. I believe that's Primarina last. Yeah. Oh, no, it's Blood Moon. Oh, hold on. That might actually still cause some major problems for me then. There's 2 turns of Trick Room left. Oh, okay. I really thought it'd be Primarina. Nicely done. I'm gonna go into Ninetales and Spiky Shield here. I don't know. I'm hoping that right now they're worried about the pressure that Ogerpon puts on. It was a really good Grass Terra by them to survive. Because basically the problem is if they lose both Pokemon there, Blood Moon is stuck out next to Fluttermane, and only one Pokemon exerts offensive pressure under Trick Room in terms of speed. Okay, good. This is what I was hoping to bait out. Yeah. So now your next turn is going to be substantially weaker. Okay, perfect. Gets rid of Light Clay, but that's fine. I think I'm okay actually clicking Blizzard here. Let's think about this. You can't Blood Moon, so you can Hyper Voice Flare Blitz into a slot. But the Flutter in the end game is not going to be offensive. I want a Blizzard Horn Leech here. Huh? This doesn't KO with the boost, right? Okay, yeah. Yawn, though? Whoa. That makes a lot of sense, actually, on their team, given that it's like a Perish Trap team. Ivy Cudgel may have been better. I don't know if Hornleech gets the KO here. I was mainly worried that, like, I wanted to heal, but I guess, like, when is the healing ever worth it over just getting the knockout? Yeah, they do live with the sliver here. Leftovers. Wow. Wow. Okay. Perish, Song, Flutter, we saw. Protect. I don't even know if you get a knockout here. I think I'm okay to just Aurora Veil. I mean, I could switch Ogerpon out right now, right? They could double protect, is the thing. Okay. I'm down to just switch. Because I don't see how Flutter is ever beating Ogre in the end game. You can't win the game off Perish Solemn because your Flutter is going to be faster than me. But I should have just clicked Ivy Cudgel. That would have gotten the knockout. I mean, it lived on like 1 HP, but this is only 12 attack Ogerpon, so I shouldn't be shocked by that. Okay, yeah, they protect. Cool. Should be fine then. Yeah. Now just extreme speed. Ghost Terra Hisuian Arcanine was what saved us in this game, though, right? So the mechanic of being able to switch out because your Ghost typing is huge. Otherwise, they would have been able to just get 2 knockouts, bring out Flutter, and Perish Song again, and I just lose. So I was pretty worried coming into this matchup, especially because I think I was thinking about more traditional Blood Moon sets, and against those, like, Bolt is interesting because you can snarl them. Landers is interesting in Trick Room because you can sub, but sub's not really that great here. I'm just going to Blizzard and E-Speed now. So I guess it's technically more optimal to Moonblast here, E-Speed. I was just wondering if there's any world in which Flutter ever survives a Blizzard. But now we get the knockout there. Yep. And Flutter should, like, you know, they have Pokemon that are traditionally pretty offensive in Flutter and Blood Moon, but they're just not able to do very much damage with those Pokemon because it's Speed Booster Flutter. Shotball actually does get the knockout there, but Ogre just wins now. Yeah. There's a lot of different things I could have done in this game, by the way. Like, given the turn 1 play where they went for Perish Song, we just go for Ivy Cudgel now. I could have just gone Head Smash on a Flutter turn 1, and it's like, if we get that knockout, we just win the game immediately. And now they're actually slower because it's super bulky Flutter. But yeah, like, 3 different plays we could have made in this game. First one was Head Smash and a Flutter. I don't really regret going for Flare Blitz, but it's like the non-traditional EV spreads in this matchup actually make a ton of sense. So something I could have anticipated a little bit better. But yeah, Head Smash on a Flutter for a knockout on turn 1. The turn against Gothitelle, when Instant switched back in, Ice Terra, the Articuno, and Flare Blitz plus the Blizzard actually may have gotten the knockout. I don't know, Gothitelle just did not take those attacks nearly as well as I expected it to. So I don't think that turn, like, really regret. I think, like, it's a lot safer to go for the safe Ghost Terra on Hisuian Arcanine, because if you bet the game on Ice Terra and then Gothitelle survives, the game's just over immediately. Whereas with Ghost Terra, I figured, okay, you know, this gives us a lot of potential to pivot out and break the Perish Trap. And then the third play would have been Ivy Cudgel onto the Ursaluna rather than Hornleech. Because I think from that position on, we should just get the knockout anyway. We should just go for the KO. Because who cares about healing, right? It'll be a 3v1 against the Flutter main, and Flutter main can't possibly knock out everything. So yeah, I think that turn it definitely should have been Ivy Cudgel. I just wasn't expecting Yawn of all moves, right? I was expecting like soak up some damage, heal back up, and then Ogre just wins even in a 1v2 scenario. But Yawn made things a little bit more interesting. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you so much as always for joining me. A huge thank you and congratulations to Nikhil once again for winning the special event, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.